This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule. 10 months, dozens of searches and interviews, and still no sign of little Orrin and Orson West, reported missing out of California City. The latest on this case as yet another month goes by. A Bakersfield shelter opened less than a year ago, already filled to the brim and turning people away daily. What the city council is doing to help house more homeless. And what Haitian captors of 17 mostly American missionaries say they want before they release the group that includes elderly and young children. Those stories and more on this Thursday, October 21st, 2021. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maddie Jansen. Today marks 10 months since the search began for Orrin and Orson West, two little boys reported missing by their adoptive parents in California City last December. Jacqueline and Trezell West called police on December 21st, 2020, after they say the boys went missing while playing outside. The family had only recently moved to California City. Beforehand, they lived in Bakersfield. Due in part to the many ties to the city, Bakersfield police eventually took over the investigation. Dozens of searches and interviews have been conducted in the past 10 months, and police insist this case is not cold. But still, no arrests have been made and the boys have not been found. Meantime, cable network News Nation, owned by our parent company Nexstar, is dedicating a segment to Orrin and Orson West as part of its new series, Missing in America. The episode, which was set to air yesterday, has been moved to tonight. You can watch Missing in America on News Nation at 6 p.m. Here in town, meantime, a special prayer event will be held in honor of the West boys this evening, with attendees praying for the boys' safe return. That's happening at 6 p.m. at the intersection of Potomac Avenue and South Owen Street, just south of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Park in East Bakersfield. We'll have more on today's somber anniversary tonight on 17 News at 5 and 6. And now to Kern's homelessness crisis and a big expansion project coming to a local shelter. The Bakersfield City Council last night voted unanimously to approve the design of a 150-bed expansion project for the Brundage Navigation Center. Officials say the facilities reached capacity, resulting in an average of 64 people each week being turned away for services. Since it opened on October 26, 2020, the center has provided services to 750 homeless clients and found permanent housing for 85 people.
There's a need to continue the work we're doing. There's a need to add more bed space. The Brundage Lane Navigation Center is a natural fit for that expansion, given the city's wise decision-making initially when they planned this site.
The $58,000 expansion design project is covered by funding from the Public Safety and Vital Services Measure, also known as Measure N. Also passed last night, retention bonuses for Bakersfield police officers. The $5,000 bonuses to rank and file officers are part of a new contract with the local police union. Long-serving members will receive an additional $3,000 to $20,000 as part of a longevity bonus. It's part of the city's mission to aid its recruitment efforts and add 100 officers to the force within 3 years of the passage of Measure N. The council also passed a 2.5% pay increase for city firefighters. Making news around the nation, just 10 days remain before Democrats' self-imposed deadline to pass two giant spending bills, and negotiations have kicked into high gear. The president is telling progressive Democrats the price tag of the Build Back Better bill will have to come down from more than $3 trillion to between $1.75 to $1.9 trillion. Among other things, the bill will provide for universal preschool, address the housing crisis, and expand Medicare. Republicans say the bill will raise taxes and cause more inflation. The White House is scrambling to find new sources of revenue to pay for it. The FDA authorized booster shots for millions of Americans yesterday, hours after the Biden administration rolled out its plans to vaccinate younger children. Authorized by the FDA late yesterday, booster shots for adults vaccinated with Moderna and Johnson & Johnson could now be days away. It comes as the White House unveils its massive plan to begin vaccinating 28 million children between the ages of 5 and 11 who could qualify for their first shots of Pfizer's vaccine as early as November. The rollout uses sites like schools and community centers to ensure families have easy access to the free vaccine.
We have to be prepared to ensure that we can get vaccines to families as soon as the FDA and the CDC issue their decision.
Pfizer's 2-dose regimen, given 3 weeks apart, is the same formula used for adults, just a smaller dose. The White House says they will pre-package the child-sized vials and ship out 15 million doses days after official authorization. A grim update from public health yesterday as we learned of another 16 lives lost to COVID-19 in Kern County. The 16 deaths bring our total to 1,632 lives lost to the virus. Most of the new deaths are from September, the worst month of the third surge. In fact, last month was one of the deadliest months of the pandemic, and health officials are still counting. Hospitals are still busy as state data shows 226 people are being treated for more severe symptoms. 72 are in the ICU, both of those figures up from late last week. Coronavirus still has its grip on our country, but it's loosening. So if you're looking for a silver lining, here it is. The number of daily cases continues to decline. We learned of another 362 cases yesterday. Our daily case average is now under 300. 300 people testing positive each day. Local hospitals, though, meantime, are still dealing with an influx of ill patients stricken with COVID-19, despite the lower daily case numbers. Mercy Hospital's president and CEO Bruce Peters reporting yesterday that local hospitals are still dealing with the influx of COVID patients. Dignity Health officials say that some of that could be due to large gatherings like the Kern County Fair, but they expect the numbers to decrease in the next few weeks. They also say our most recent deaths are due to the Delta variant of COVID-19, though they don't have solid statistics at this point.
We have 47 COVID patients today, which we did dip down as low as 41 for one day, and then it just kind of easing back up a little bit again. We have 13 COVID patients in the ICU, 11 of whom are on vents, so that's concerning.
Every third Thursday in October, the Great Shakeout runs earthquake drills across the globe. Today at 10:21 a.m., students worldwide dropped what they were doing to duck under their desks. The Great Shakeout is just a drill, but it's a big one with more than 30 million participants worldwide and 7 million here in California. It's days like today that help mitigate the impact of quakes like the 2019 Ridgecrest quake, which hit 7.1 on the Richter scale, but killed no one in Kern County. The Great Shakeout pushes preparedness plans for everyone, from individuals to families to businesses. If you'd like to participate, you can check out shakeout.org/California for more information on getting prepared. Back in your Business Watch, the Labor Department has released its weekly unemployment benefit numbers, and they show an improvement over last week. According to the numbers, unemployment claims fell by 6,000 to 290,000 last week. That's the third weekly drop in a row and the fewest to apply for benefits since the pandemic worsened in March of 2020. However, the report also shows hiring has slowed in the past 2 months, even with a new record number of open jobs on the market. Making news around the nation, the search for a missing Florida man continues at a nearby nature reserve. Investigators returned to Carlton Reserve today to look for Brian Laundrie. Yesterday, investigators found some of Laundrie's personal items, including a backpack and a notebook. They also found suspected human remains. As of now, authorities have not confirmed if the remains belong to Laundrie. However, his attorney says there is a strong possibility that's true. Laundrie disappeared in September, just days after his fiancée Gabby Petito was reported missing. Laundrie is considered a person of interest in the disappearance of Petito, who was found strangled to death in a Wyoming campground last month. The two had been on a cross-country trip documenting their visits to national parks when she went missing. The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.